So, you're thinking about buying or selling a business? It's a huge deal, a total life changer. But man, the process can feel like you're trying to find your way through a maze blindfolded. Well, today, we're going to give you the map and the compass. Let's dive in. You know that feeling? You're walking down the street, you see that cute little corner store or that awesome bakery, and you think, I could totally run this place, right? Or maybe you're scrolling online and find a shop you love, and that little voice pops up, what if that was my business? It's a super common dream, but turning it into a reality, well, that takes a plan. And that is exactly what we're going to lay out for you today. All right, so here's the game plan for our journey today. First up, we're going to figure out what we're actually talking about. What even is a business opportunity? Then we'll get into assembling your dream team. You can't do this alone. After that, we're talking dollars and cents, pricing, and how to do your homework. Then we'll tackle the legal stuff, that big scary maze. And finally, we'll get you across that finish line.
Okay, let's start at the very beginning. What are we really buying or selling here? Let's get a clear definition of what a business opportunity actually is.
Okay, so the official definition sounds a little stuffy, right? The sale or lease of the business and goodwill. But here's the deal. The magic is in those two words, business and goodwill. You're not just buying stuff, the coffee machines and the chairs. You're buying the reputation. You're buying the loyal customers who show up every single morning, the glowing online reviews, that warm, fuzzy feeling people get when they see the logo. That's goodwill. And honestly, it's usually the most valuable part of the whole deal. So, when you buy the business, what's actually in the box? You've got the physical stuff for sure, the inventory on the shelves, the furniture, the equipment, but then you get the really crucial invisible stuff we just talked about, that all-important goodwill, the right to take over the existing lease, which is huge, and, this is a big one, a non-competition agreement, basically a promise from the seller that they won't open up a brand new identical shop right across the street. All right, so now we know what we're buying. The next big question is who you need on your side. This is all about setting yourself up for success by building the right team and having a solid plan. Okay, right in the middle of most of these deals, you're going to find a broker. Think of them as the official referee of the game. They have what's called a fiduciary duty, which is a fancy legal way of saying they are legally required to be fair and honest with both the buyer and the seller. Their job is to make sure the whole process is above board and everyone's interests are protected. Now, let's take a look at how businesses in the US are actually structured. And this might surprise you. A massive 75%, three-quarters, are sole proprietorships. That's basically one person running the whole show. We hear about corporations all the time on the news, but they're a way, way smaller slice of the pie when it comes to the sheer number of businesses out there. But, and this is a huge but, look at this. Who's actually making the money? Even though corporations are a small fraction of the total number of businesses, they pull in over 70% of all the income. That just shows you the incredible difference in scale and financial power between a one-person shop and a corporation. It's kind of mind-blowing when you see it laid out like that. Okay, lean in for this one. If you only remember one single thing from our entire chat today, please let it be this. You must seek your own legal and tax advice. Hire a lawyer, hire an accountant. The broker is there to facilitate the deal, sure, but they are not your lawyer or your accountant. This is your money, your future, your dream on the line. You absolutely need your own team of experts in your corner. Okay, deep breath. Now it's time to get our hands dirty. We're moving into the really nitty-gritty parts, figuring out the price and doing your investigation. This is the look before you leap phase, and you've got to take it seriously. So, the million-dollar question, how much is a business actually worth? Well, there are two main ways to look at it. The first is all about the profit. You look at a business, say a coffee shop, and it makes 50 grand a year in profit. How much are you willing to pay today to get that 50 grand a year income stream? The other way is simpler. You just add up the value of all the physical stuff. The espresso machine is worth this much, the tables are worth that much, you get the idea. Usually, the final price is some kind of blend of both methods. This next part is called due diligence. It's a formal-sounding term for something really simple. Doing your homework. You need to become a private investigator. Your mission? Uncover everything. Are there hidden debts or liens? What are the exact terms of the lease? Are the financial books legit? You have to dig in and make absolutely sure you know exactly what you're buying, warts and all. All right, so you've done your homework, you like what you see. Now it's time to step into the legal maze. And look, it can seem really complicated and intimidating, but the key is having the right guides to lead you through. You can totally do this. And your number one guide through this maze is the escrow holder. The best way to think of them is as a neutral, trusted third party, a middleman. They hold on to all the money and all the important documents, and they don't release anything to anyone until every single rule has been followed and every I is dotted and T is crossed. They're there to protect everybody. So, what exactly is on their to-do list? Well, first, they hunt for any hidden debts. That's the lien search. Then they officially notify all the creditors that the business is changing hands. Super important. They also get the final sign-off from all the government tax agencies. Then they manage the big transfer of funds and documents. And at the very end, they give everyone a complete breakdown of where every penny went. They are the ones who make sure the deal closes cleanly and correctly. So why is getting that sign-off from the taxman so incredibly important? Well, listen closely to this because it's a big one. As the new owner, you could be held personally responsible for the old owner's unpaid taxes. Just let that sink in. That's a massive, massive risk that could completely wipe out your new business before you even open the doors.
Yeah, this has a name, and it's called successor's liability. And it is every bit as scary as it sounds. You inherit the previous owner's tax problems. But, and this is the good news, there is a clear, straightforward way to protect yourself. So how do you protect yourself? It's a simple two-step process. Step 1. Your escrow holder will hold back enough of the seller's money from the purchase price to cover any potential surprise tax bill. Step 2. The deal does not close, nobody gets paid until you have a clearance receipt in your hands from the tax board. This little piece of paper is your proof that the old owner is all paid up. Think of it as your financial shield. It is absolutely non-negotiable. We are in the home stretch now. Let's talk about the final steps, crossing that finish line and officially making that business yours. Okay, so the deal is closed, you've got the keys, but the paperwork isn't quite over yet. Now, as the new owner, you've got your own little checklist of government agencies to contact. You'll need to get a new employer ID number from the IRS, set up new accounts for things like sales tax and payroll taxes, and of course, get all the right local business licenses and permits to operate legally. Before we wrap up, I want to touch on one special case, another popular way to get into business: franchising. This is a whole different ballgame. Instead of buying a one-of-a-kind local shop, you're essentially buying into a big, established system with a well-known brand. It's a real partnership. The franchisor, that's the big company, gives you the playbook, the training, the marketing, basically the recipe for success. And you, the franchisee, get to run your own business using that recipe, benefiting from their brand recognition. But there are risks on both sides. If the company has a bad business model, you're in trouble. And if you're not a good operator, they're in trouble. It's a two-way street. So there you have it. We've laid out the entire map for buying or selling a business. We've gone from defining the deal all the way to that final transfer. The path is clear, right? The potential pitfalls are identifiable, and it's all manageable. But a map is only half the battle. You can't walk this path alone. That's the biggest takeaway here. Which brings us to the final and most important question. You have the map now, but who's on your team?